Hey everyone, and welcome to what I'm calling the devlogs, dev diaries, or whatever. I haven't decided yet, obviously. Either way, welcome. So we're about 10 episodes into Cult of the Lamb at the time of recording, anyway. And I think it's about time to show kind of what we're looking for, what we've kind of gleaned from this thing, from our research, quote unquote. So let me show you what inspiration I've taken out of this. So here we are, and forgive me for the quality. Yes, I use GIMP. I have to. I use Linux. Sorry. So here we have Cult of the Lamb, and Cult of the Lamb has some psychological horror elements. It's got manipulation of your followers, loyalty and faith mechanics, and interpersonal connections. So, I mean, when your followers make friends with each other, when they dissent, stuff like that. That stuff was interesting to me, and I can think of something similar that I can make from these kind of aspects of the game. So not stealing these, obviously, stealing like an artist. I've gained inspiration from these aspects specifically for something that I could work on in the future. So thinking about these aspects, I thought, what's the most psychological, draining, and horrible thing that I've ever had to deal with? And that's working retail. So obviously, if you've ever worked retail, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And specifically for me, what I would want to make is a game that entails bunnies and coffee. So for me specifically, I work in a coffee shop, and so I have a lot of experience and stories that I could weave into this, and I think I have an idea that I could really work on, and the characters would be very cutesy, similar to Cult of the Lamb, but I think a majority, if not all of them, would be bunnies, and I'd probably call it Honey Bunny Cafe or something along those lines. So that's probably one half of Cult of the Lamb. So I had an idea for a second game that I could work on using aspects from this to make something else entirely. For instance, the combat, the resource and land management, the procedural dungeons that they have, and altogether I've thought of something similar to a farm sim, something like Harvest Moon, or Animal Crossing, something along those lines, with that kind of like village feel, like when you're going back to your compound in Cult of the Lamb and you have to kind of take care of everyone there, something along those lines. So if we want to continue researching for these games, and I really want to, there are other games that I could see aspects of, like being incorporated in these kinds of things. One of them being in the kind of mechanics would be oxygen not included. So my idea centers around like this coffee house that you kind of manage, and your people, they kind of do their own thing. Like they have their own jobs, they have their own like goals that they want to meet throughout the day. And one game that I think does that really well is Oxygen Not Included. So we could play that later on and like kind of examine the management aspect of it. For the farming, the one that comes to mind is Stardew Valley, and that was made just by one person. And so I think like gaining inspiration from that would be very helpful, because it is just me. Like, I don't have anyone else working on this with me. So if I could take a look at that in more depth, that I think that would be helpful. So yeah. So the images I have in mind for the bunny cafe thing is cartoony, similar to Cult of the Lamb, kind of that hand-drawn kind of thing. And I'm not able to do that right now. What's more manageable to me, I think, is something akin to the pixelated view. Not the 2D version of Stardew Valley. I would want it to be 3D in a 3D space, more like Cult of the Lamb, where you can move in all directions. But still kind of a grainy, kind of pixely kind of look. And I think that's probably more my skill level at this moment. Or we could go the completely different direction. I have an idea for something I like to call rage quit. And I think this may be what I work on first, just because my skill level is not where I want it to be. And I think this is something not simple, but simpler than creating these complicated interpersonal communications between AI and the player. If you've ever read a memo that made you mad, or been to a meeting that could have been an email, or had your vacation denied, you know exactly how mad these places can make you. And I had this idea for kind of a run and gun that uses office supplies. So I would want the same kind of tongue-in-cheek humor. That's really my go-to. Like, I am sarcastic, I am tongue-in-cheek, like, that is who I am, and that is the kind of humor I like. So I would want to incorporate that in this, and it would be a run and gun, first-person shooter, and a battle tower. So you start at the bottom, your lair. Maybe you work IT, and you work your way up to the CEO, fighting all of your coworkers. In the meantime, just killing them all with the office supplies you find lying around. And I think what I would want to do more research on, or to play to kind of get an understanding of the feel, would be Doom. And honestly, to me, Doom seems like such a cool game. I've never played it. I've seen it played. I don't even know if my computer can run it. We'll see. We'll find out. But I think this will be easier. Like, I think the humor in it would make up for whatever is lacking graphically. And this is what I want to do first. So I showed those first two ideas to show what I want to work on in the future, and what we're kind of looking for while we play Cult of the Lamb. Like, I want to finish it. I want to see it through before I work on whatever, or while I work on whatever. But that's what we're doing. So Rage Quit is what I want to work on, even though we're not even really, like, researching this right now. So I think once we're done playing Cult of the Lamb, we'll go and play Doom, see what that's about. So thank you for watching. If you watched this far, I appreciate everyone who does, honestly. Even if no one watches it, it's like a diary. That's pretty much what it is. Just so I can get these ideas off my chest, so I have them somewhere, so I can look back on them later on. I'm not really big for writing things down. It's a problem. But yeah, so whenever we get started on Rage Quit, we'll probably alternate between, a game video or a research video or whatever it is, and the devlog. So that's kind of the direction where I'm going at the moment. So I'll do my best, and I'll do what I think's right, and I hope everyone else does. So if you want to follow my journey through this, just subscribe, I guess. I don't know. If you're interested in this kind of thing. Hopefully, if you're watching this. Anyway, let's get back to playing some games. Bye.